Okay, it's time for Game of Thrones. This would be episode 8 of season 5. Um, now hold on a second. Hold on just a second. Now, isn't this big battle supposed to be like an episode 9 type of thing of an odd season or an even season? Because season 1, episode 9, what's his name dies? Eddard Stark dies. Season 2, episode 9, Battle of Blackwater. Season 3, episode 9, Red Wedding, Robb Stark, Catelyn Stark, etc. Season 4, Episode 9, The Wildling Battle. So, Season 5, Episode 9, Jon Stark. Jon Snow dies? I don't know. Um, but if we follow this stupid ass pattern, the one who's going to die is going to be somebody honorable, which makes me think Jon Snow. Um, are we going to have a sudden death? Not, I mean, like a, you know what I mean, like an act, like a sudden, somebody who suddenly dies, not a sudden death match. Uh, I don't know, but it seems to be going that way. So it's an odd season, 135, episode 9. I don't know. I'm rambling, but episode 8, we had a battle, and it's very interesting. I mean, I'll cover this first because it was the majority of the episode compared to everything else. Um, Basically, everybody says, we're going to join you, except a few. But then out of nowhere, the freaking White Walkers come out of nowhere, and like some avalanche type of mist comes through and changes them all into White Walkers. Everybody who, they shut the gate on. And that was insane. Like, they just started attacking like absolute madmen, and a lot of wildlings died. I don't think any of the Castle Black members who came with Jon Snow died. I think there were only two, right? Um, I thought Jon was gonna die. I seriously did because he got hit really hard by a blunt weapon. Like you would think there was some internal damage there. Maybe there is. That might kill him in episode 9 to follow the prediction. Um, but he got hit really hard by that one, seemingly like a leader of like a captain of the White Walkers, and he was able to win. But it seemed like that sword was like made out of dragon glass or something, out of obsidian. Because that's what it is, obsidian, right? Is what they call dragon glass. So anyway, uh, I thought this battle was pretty cool. I really liked it. It was very intense. I really didn't know who was going to live and who was going to die, but I did not like the fact that the one girl died because she was pretty cool, and I wanted more development out of her. Um, Obviously, her kids were the reason why she died because they hopped up on her. She couldn't fight them. Um, and suddenly, this is now The Walking Dead. Uh, this is where Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead meet with the White Walkers. Previously on AMC's Game of Thrones. Uh, what the fuck is that rattling? Um, somebody's bass. I don't know, but anyway, that was. It did kind of surprise me that the White Walkers came at that moment. Of course, Jon Snow did very well. He got hurt really badly though, so we'll see if he dies or not. What else? And Tormund did a really good job. Even Tormund was very good in this episode because he vouched for Jon all the way, um, basically. And without his help, Jon Snow would have failed, obviously. So good props to Tormund. He's still alive, luckily. The Giant's still alive. Uh, Unfortunately, that girl is a White Walker now. So um, this they really reminds me of like that leader who raises arms, which looked it looked like a double meaning, like him raising his arms was like sort of like a victory taunt, but at the same time it was also raising the dead into the White Walkers. It that guy reminds me of freaking Azog, the Defiler from The Hobbit. I don't know why, but this all is like very very Hobbit-esque or very Lord of the Rings-esque in general. Um, this just smells of Tolkien influence, in my opinion. Um, that whole scene where they're you know moving the boat away from the shore, that that really like that was like a Tolkien scene right there. Um, just the whole cinematics of it. That's what it reminded me of. Um, tell me if you agree in the comments. So, um, yeah, that was an insane battle. I really liked it, and it was out of nowhere. So it like I wasn't prepared for it. Like Castle Black, I was prepared, or Blackwater, I was prepared for, and the Wildling battle, I was prepared for. I was not prepared for this. It was a very good, pleasant surprise. So, um, this definitely made the episode a good episode. But anyway, moving away from Jon Snow, there was a little bit in Castle Black, of course. Ollie is being Ollie, and oh my gosh, it this kid, if this kid try this smells like mutiny to me. Like Ollie's gonna try to kill Jon Snow because the way Sam said to him, like you making a decision like that is right, but nobody else is going to agree with you, and he makes this face like I know I have a plan like that. If like Ollie already killed Ygritte, if he kills Jon Snow, fuck him, fuck him to hell. Um, I don't know. I'm sorry, but Jon Snow should not die. He should not die in this entire series. Yes, I know what I know. You know, any book reader, you don't have to tell me he's alive or dead. I do know the status of Jon Snow from the books because it's impossible not to get away from that. Um, but obviously, the show is not the books, and as you guys have very often complained about, that it's not the books. It's they've strayed very far. Um, so even if it seems like John may or may not be doing something similar to what he's doing in the books, I don't know. Um, don't expect it to be a carbon copy. Like for example, um, people were saying the fact that Sansa is taking Jane's, uh, I think her name is Jane, right? Um, her role means that she's not going to do something. Well, again, you have to take into account just because she's taking the role of this girl named Jane does not mean she's going to follow every single step, because as we know, D&D does not follow George R.R. Martin to a T. In fact, far from it. So do not expect the same thing that may or may not happen to Jane to happen to Sansa. Uh, I don't know what happens to her because I haven't read much about her, but again, I think there's something else in stock. I'm telling you guys, I think either she or I mean Theon could do something, but I do think that there's a chance that Sansa could do something like kill Ramsay and then call for help. Um, I don't know, but I did think let's move to that now, I guess. So basically, Sansa, she does learn that her brothers are alive, which I was hoping she would learn, and she did. So good. Thank you, Theon. Thank you, Reek. Whatever. Um, he was speaking. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but he's been speaking more and more clearly as of recent. Have you guys noticed that? Because before, while he was full 100% Reek, he was, yes, my lord. Yeah, I, I don't. But now he was speaking to Sansa normally, uh, almost like he normally would have when he was Theon, but not quite. He's still broken. He was able to talk about um, his torture to Sansa. So there's definitely something going on there. Um, I think he may eventually become Theon again. Uh, I hope so. Or either that or he dies. I don't give a shit. But as long as Sansa gets out of there, because she's been disrespected for far too long. Anyway, that's it for her. There wasn't much there. There was Arya, which I'll get to last, I think. Um, of course, Cersei has a very small portion at the beginning and in the middle. Um, two scenes where she is offered water if she confesses. She refuses and she gets smacked in the face. And she's going nuts. Um, and then, of course, the one guy comes in and basically says, like, if you confess, we can get you out of here. Um, and she refuses. And I kind of understand. Um, as much as I don't like Cersei, I do actually sort of kind of feel a tiny slither of bad for her. But at the same time, she had it coming. Uh, obviously, she had it coming. And what will become of her, I don't know. But I also, at the same time, I also don't like this faith militant thing. I really don't. Because I want to see them die because they've just been dickweeds. But at the same time, I do like what they did to Cersei, so. But I don't like what they're doing to Marjorie. That's the thing. Uh, it's like a double-edged sword. So I want the Tyrells to sort of get free. Lannisters not so much. But Tommen's innocent. I don't mind Tommen. He's an innocent kid, you know. He was thrown into a very harsh world at a young age, and honestly, he hasn't turned out so bad as a result. He started to show more backbone, but he can't do anything because of Cersei's dumbass plans. Anyway, so that's that. She's obviously in agony, etc. Mm, was there anything else before I get? Oh yeah, there was Daenerys and Arya. Excuse me. Um, I guess we'll talk about Daenerys next because that's and of course Jorah. I guess I'll talk about Jorah and then Daenerys because Jorah is going to the fighting pits. He's grayscale. I don't know what he plans to do with that. But he wants to fight for her. He's still obsessed with her. Blah blah blah. But basically, Tyrion worms his way with his words, of course, into her advisement council, which is very nice. Um, the conversation between the two of them was very good. I very much enjoyed it, and now we know where "I'm going to break the wheel" comes from. We know the context now. That was like a big thing in the frickin' previews and like the trailers for the season. Um, I don't know. I thought it was kind of in the trailers, but honestly, I understand the context better. It's interesting because the wheel happens to be, the houses, Targaryens, Baratheon, Lannister, Stark, etc., including the Tyrells, and she's like, that's the wheel, where the top, where those who go on the top just crush those under. Um, and Tyrion's like, you're not the first person that thinks you're going to stop the building. Like, no, I'm going to break it. Which was a really good statement, but at the same time, you have to actually fucking do something before you can break anything. You've kind of been sitting in the same spot for like a long ass time. Uh, do something. But at least now that Tyrion's there, maybe she will do something. I don't know. But Tyrion is awesome. He's now, going to be even more awesome because he's going to go back to a season 2 type of person, I think, with how he acts, I think, for the most part. Um, I don't know. He was great when he was the Hand of the King. That was my favorite. My favorite version of Tyrion was season 2 when he was Hand of the King because he was awesome. He was amazing. I think season 2 Tyrion is objectively the best character in the entire series, even though my favorite character is still Eddard Stark, believe it or not. All right, so let's talk about Arya. Um, I really do like how this is developing because Arya basically is now, right now, Lana something, um, who is observing this gambler who is basically swindling a lot of people out of money and lives, in fact. I won't go into the details of the plan, but it does sort of seem a bit okay. So, anyway, she's basically learning all there is to know about this gambler, and then from there, she's going to offer him the gift, which is probably death, like the water from that fountain, which is death. So we'll see how that plays out. It's very interesting. Hopefully that should be done by the end of the season. I'm assuming that's going to be an episode 10 thing because episode 9 is going to focus on Jon Snow being killed probably. Um, this is my assumption because D&D is very predictable with killing off the honorable person or something of that nature. I mean, obviously George Martin did that too, but not to the same extent that fucking D&D does. But ultimately, uh, you know, D&D, they're most likely going to follow the same formula that they've been following all this entire time. I'll say it one more time. The odd seasons are a death of somebody honorable that we care about, possibly a Stark. Then the evens are a great battle in episode 9. Season 1 was Eddard Stark, season 3 was Robb Stark and Catelyn Stark. Season 2 was the Battle of Blackwater, season 4 was Battle of the Wildlings. So, if they're gonna follow this tradition, somebody honorable is gonna die. Like probably a Stark, and there's only a few Starks left. And Sansa's not really that honorable anymore. Neither is Arya. What's his name? Jon Snow is a Stark. Whether or not he's Lyanna's daughter or I just realized what the fuck I just said. Whether or not he's Lyanna's kid or Eddard Stark's kid, he is a Stark. There is no doubt about it. Absolutely none. In my opinion, at least. Whether or not he's Rhaegar's kid or Eddard Stark's, I don't know. But I mean, it seems like the whole Rhaegar Lyanna thing is the most popular theory, but anyway, that's it. Thank you all for listening. This was a good episode, mostly because of the battle and shit. So we'll see y'all next week.